Hello everyone and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Burnham, I'm the CEO of Stilo, and I'm going to be introducing today's session and providing a short overview of Migrate. But Helen will be the main presenter today, and she's going to be providing a live demo of Migrate. And the idea of today's session is really just to give you a 30-minute taster of what Migrate can do, how it can be used for content conversion tasks. And we'll be showing you how to convert a FrameMaker document today to DITA. So we'll press on and move quite quickly through today's session. Just some housekeeping things first of all. We'd like to try to make today's demo interactive, so we're keeping the phone lines open for questions. If you could mute yourself if you don't have a question to ask, that would be great, so we can cut out any background noise. But feel free to chip in as we go along. The idea of all of this was to have just small, informal sessions where we can basically bounce ideas back and forth if needs be. So do feel free to chip in when you want to. You can use the teleconference. I think you can't use voice over IP as I'm aware to ask interactive questions. But submit questions if you want by the Q&A panel in the meeting window, and we can pick those up as we go along, or also sort of address them at the end of today's session as well. And if you have any technical issues at all, just send a chat to Helen St, and she'll try to help you out. So we'll be running a survey at the end of the session to gather a bit of feedback, and just let you know that today's session is also going to be recorded, and the link will be emailed to everyone shortly afterwards. So let me just begin with a couple of introductions. For those of you who don't know us, Stilo International, we're a publicly listed company on the UK Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange. We're a technology company. We developed a product called OmniMark, which is a content processing language and has really been sort of preeminent in the SGML content processing space for more than 20 years now. We've also recently launched AuthorBridge, which is a low-cost web editing tool for subject matter experts. About 7 or 8 years ago, we began the development of Migrate, which is our cloud content conversion service. It's quite unique, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And using Migrate, we've helped customers convert more than 1 million pages of content to DITA, typically from FrameMaker and Word, but also InDesign, RoboHelp, Altera, other formats, PDF now, to DITA. So typically for legacy content conversion, but also in certain cases where there's an ongoing import, say from Word documents to CCMSs as well. And we've implemented Migrate in those situations too. So we work with quite a range of customers and have done for more than 20 years or so, and here's an example of them, and that's growing all the time. Now today's presenter is Helen St, Denis, and Helen is our conversion services manager, and yeah, she's been pretty much frontline support for that 1 million pages or so of content that's being converted to DITA over recent years. And so she's really come across just about, I would say, you know, most problems, most issues that you might expect in document conversion, but we're still never cease to be surprised by, I think, content. As and when it comes in, there's always something new to learn. And Helen enjoys converting content and solving the problems associated with it. And interestingly, she started life out at Stilo as a tech writer herself. So before going into the demo, let me just give you briefly a short overview. When we provide our customers with a Migrate portal, we essentially we customize the portal for their own specific requirements. So we look at sample document sets, we pre-configure portals for particular customers. We can go to the 1.1, 1.2, we can introduce specializations if needs be. And then you can basically sort of upload documents, whether they're single documents or multiple files. We can implement pipelines for document groups as well. And you would upload, basically we'll show you this as we go along, you'd upload your document to the portal where it gets analyzed. Basically we do a character count and as well. and we annotate and map the characteristics of the document to the DITA that we want to convert to. If we see any potential sort of issues on conversion, we also issue a warning report, and that might indicate areas where you might need to do a bit of cleanup before conversion takes place. And we charge on this basis of conversion credits, where one conversion credit processes 1,000 characters of content. So typically in FrameMaker, 1,000 characters equates to about a page. So once the document's been analyzed, we then actually convert it in real time, on demand, and generate DITA. So we can refine the rules editor we can refine the content results and the conversion results as much as you like using a rules editor which we've developed. So as subject matter experts, SMEs can actually sort of guide exceptions. You don't have to be a developer to be able to tweak the conversion rules. You can easily configure new rules and reconvert as many times as necessary without it cost you any more. So that's basically the process, and every time we're producing high quality sort of valid DITA because it's a schema generated DITA, so you'll always get valid DITA. And we can essentially tailor the output to your own specific requirements, whether we're looking at DITA topics, specialized topics, DITA maps, FrameMaker drawings to SVG, you convert it automatically, and we convert equations to MathML. So I think it's fair to say that as the years go by and as this system processes more and more content, then it becomes more and more sophisticated. And I'd like now really just to be able to pass you across to Helen, and she can just point out some of the sophistications of the Migrate system. So over to you, Helen.
Thanks, Les. So this slide just has a list of a few of the things that we can accomplish through automation that sometimes we're led to believe can't be done automatically. One of the things that is a perennial challenge in conversion to XML is tables, particularly tables that have complicated row spanning, column spanning, that kind of thing. That just comes through correctly automatically with Migrate. All of that is handled automatically and isn't a worry. Of course, with tables, the other side of the coin is that a lot of times in our source formats, tables are used for layout purposes only, and we actually don't want the table in DITA. Probably the most common one that we come across is notes that have been formatted as tables, just for layout purposes to make them look right. Luckily, we are able in Migrate to identify these tables with a couple of rules, strip out the table markup, and mark up what's inside the table correctly. So you might have a table in the input, but you will have a note element in the output, and that's pretty easy. Along the same sort of lines, when we do a conversion, and most automated conversions will do this, we'll take a paragraph style and map it directly to the appropriate element in DITA. And this is really good, and it can accomplish a lot, and just in terms of the volume of the content, a lot can be done this way, but it's often not sufficient. It's not adequate. For example, your content might use a list style, a numbered list style, to indicate steps in a task. It might use the very same paragraph style when it's enumerating a list in a reference topic, for example. So it's not as simple as just mapping the style to the element. But because Migrate is a schema-driven conversion, it's able to make a differentiation based on the context it finds this. So if it finds this paragraph style in an area where a step is allowed, it can create a step. If it comes across it in a place where a step is not allowed, it will automatically default to create a numbered list if that's allowed. So again, that's not anything that we have to worry about ahead of time. Similarly, when it comes to inline elements, the smaller little chunks of text that can be quite important, we have various ways of identifying this. Quite often they are not given their own character level style name, but we can use things like inline styling such as bolding or italics. We can look at patterns. We can look at the context in which we find these things to help us identify and mark them up correctly. Most common example being, I think, UI controls in a menu cascade. So typically they are little pieces of bold text. Very often they might have the word click in front of them. Typically they occur in a task inside a step or a sub-step. So if we find a bold piece of text with the word click before it, well, we can reliably make that into a UI control. If it's a bold piece of text and it has the word window after it, we can reliably make that into a window title, that kind of thing. So we are pretty good at picking these things out and marking those up correctly as well. We do also give you the ability to configure the structure of your map within your rules editor. So this is within your control. You can choose to produce a DITA map or a book map. You can have submaps at any level that you choose. That's all controlled by the rules. So it's within your own control. And we do also give you access to information that might not be visible in the content flow. So, for example, if you've got index markers in your FrameMaker or your Word, or many of the other input formats, we can convert those automatically to index terms easily enough. If you have conditional text, we can map that to the appropriate DITA profiling attributes. Variables can be converted to conrefs or keyrefs. Similarly, we can make conrefs or groups of conrefs from text insets or snippets. And if there's content in your master pages or in the headers and footers of your document, sometimes there's useful metadata in there. We can also access that and populate the metadata in either the topic or the map with that information.
Okay, thanks. Let me make you a presenter, Helen.
Thanks,
and
Les.
then we'll proceed with the demo.
Okay, I'm hoping that, okay, now it looks like you should be able to see my screen now.
Yeah.
Great. So if you can see it, what you are looking at is the page in a Migrate portal that you would see when you first log in. You can see that I've got a listing of the documents uploaded, and I've actually got the same document uploaded 3 times here. In production, you wouldn't actually do that because once it's uploaded, you can change the rules and convert and download, and then change the rules some more and convert again and download as often as you like. You don't need to upload again. You don't need to pay more credits. But just as I prepare for a demo, I tend to end up with more than one copy of a document. So what I'll do is I'll go very briefly through the workflow of Migrate, take a quick look at the document we are dealing with, and some of the challenges that we find, show you some of the output that we've got, and then I'll show you how we got the output and how we can go about changing it very quickly with the rules editor. I'm going to try and go through it quickly because we are trying to keep it within a short period of time. However, I am very happy to take questions as we go. Sometimes it's better to answer the question as it comes up rather than wait till the end. Okay, so our first step would be to upload the document. So we simply hit upload, choose a file from our file system. So it's a FrameMaker document saved as .mif format. And Migrate has recognized that as a single FrameMaker file. We can also process a whole book at once. For demo purposes, we usually just use a single chapter because it goes a little faster. A few seconds here or there seems to make a lot of difference when you're on a demo. So as you can see, Migrate has uploaded the document and it's analyzed it. During the analysis, it's done a couple of things. It has created an intermediate XML format with just really a handful of elements in it, but preserving things like paragraph styles, character styles, font size, font weight, margins, that sort of thing. All of those things are preserved. Markers are preserved. Conditions are preserved. All the information that we can get at that will help us set rules to give a good quality conversion. It's also taken any equations that it finds in the FrameMaker and converted those to MathML. And any FrameMaker drawings, it's converted to SVGs. And of course, it's also counted the number of text characters. So it's telling me it's going to take 16 of our prepaid credits to convert this document. So to see the analysis, I click on the file name, and it takes me here to the details page. 16,946 characters. So that's 16 of our prepaid credits. Some other statistics that don't have any effect on the credits, but it does tell me it's converted one image and one formula, just for my information. I have no warnings or errors. They would be here. Warnings or errors might include things like letting me know if I have text boxes, just to make sure they are in the place I expect them in the input. Next step now, since I have no warnings to worry about, the next step for me to do is to accept those 16 credits. So the 16's gone black now, and there's 16 fewer over here. Now I can assign a rule set. So I have some rules in place already, so I've chosen those, and a target. I'm going to go with DITA 1.2 with bookmap for these purposes. Anybody having their own portal will have the target that they need. Might be DITA 1.2, 1.3, 1.1, bookmap, DITA map, or any specialized DTD that you have. So now Migrate is taking my intermediate XML. It's taking the rules that I've put in place, the schema for DITA 1.2, and some configurations to get me the bookmap the way I've specified it, and it's going to give me some DITA. So I'm going to show you quickly the document that we're dealing with so you get an idea. It's not a real document. It's something that we put together just to show the sorts of things that we see when we're getting ready to do conversion. So it's got a bunch of the usual things, headings, lists, tables, and so on. I stuck in this perfectly meaningless table here to show the column and row spanning that we can do. There's an equation in here which I never like to show to anyone who knows anything about math because, again, it's quite meaningless. Just to show that what we produce is the same as what we put in. There's a drawing, same thing. We put in some conditional text, just as an example. Now we come to some of the things that we do encounter as we're converting people's documents, some of the challenges that we do see. So here in this topic, this is installing QuickTrace. We can tell that this is a task. That's fairly easy to tell. We've got some steps. So the steps, you can see down here, it tells you the paragraph style. So the paragraphs are styled as numbered or numbered 1. So it's going to be pretty easy for us to make a rule that says numbered or numbered 1 becomes a step. That's going to be easy. Where it gets a little trickier is as we go down inside the steps. Here we have what will be choices. Click no if this, click yes if that. That's going to be a choice. Down here we've got ordered substeps, but they use the same paragraph style. So we have to make a rule that distinguishes between those two. We've also got these letters hard-coded in here rather than anybody letting FrameMaker make those into list items automatically. So those are some of the things we see quite commonly. A couple of other things. We go down, we'll see some of the common problems. So here we have a table. This is a note. It's actually in a table, and you see it doesn't even look as though it's in a table in the FrameMaker, but the table has been used to get that correct formatting. So we're going to need to take out that table. We've got some related topics in here. We're going to make those initially into some related links. And the last thing, we have a bunch of other things in here, but we don't have time to show them all. Here we have a definition list in a table, so we're going to need to strip out that table as well. So that's the kind of thing we're looking at in our input. And we've now converted it, so let's download it. It's finished converting in 35 seconds. That's pretty good. I have a copy there already, so I'm just going to give it a new file name. Should open up any second. There we are. We'll extract them all. So you can see we uploaded one MIF file, and what we've got out is a separate file for each DITA topic. We have a book map. We've got a DITA val file because we had some conditional text, so we automatically produce a DITA val file. We've got a MathML, and we have an SVG. So all of that from that one document. So I'm just going to open up the book map so that we can take a look at it. I'm going to use XML. That's what I have, and that's going to show us something that we can. I don't know why it complains about being unable to add a tab. I think I'm going to try that one again. Oh, XML. Close it. Undefined is null or not an object. Very likely. Okay. Close it down and start again. It's a little nicer showing it in XML than in a text editor, so hopefully it's not going to complain this time. Okay, this looks better. Much better. Okay, so you can see here that we've got a book map. It's properly nested. All our topics here. We've got front matter. Let's see what's in here. So this is the table that we had with the column spanning and row spanning, and you can see that that's come out as it should have. Let's go to installing Quick Trace. So here we have our task with the sub-steps and the choices. So you can see we've got steps. Here we have choices. And here we have sub-steps. And we've actually correctly stripped out the A, B, C here, and those are being generated by the DITA publication because they're sub-steps. So we don't need the letters in there. So you can see those are gone. Tables that aren't tables, let's go to that one. So here we have where we used to have a table. We've now got a note, and the type is warning, and that is the correct type, and there's no table markup. And we've also got related links from those related links that were in the input. And we looked at our definition list. So here we have a definition list where we had a table before. So basically, you know, I look at this and I go, I'm pretty happy with that output. But turns out that we've changed our mind, and we've actually decided we don't want to use related links. We think that a relationship table would be a better idea. So what we will do now, we can go ahead and open up the rules editor and make some changes so that we'll be able to see that right away. So what I'm doing now is I'm opening up the rules editor with this document. It's going to give me a view of the document based on the intermediate XML format, because that is the format that the rules apply to, in fact. Here's my rules editor. So this is my view of my content. Over here, there's a list of the rules that I have in place already. Down here is my rules where I can modify them. I'm just going to increase the size of this so we can see it better. So here's my table. Just an example of a rule. This is the main title of the map. So I've selected the text. It tells me the style coming across from FrameMaker. It tells me the annotations I've given it with my rules and the rules that have done that work. A bunch of properties here that I can use if I need to identify the text correctly. If I click here, it takes me down here to the rule. And this is the most simple, straightforward type of rule, but it's useful to show the type of rule, the way a rule is structured. So a rule will have a test to make sure it identifies the piece of text you're interested in. And then it has an annotation that is an instruction to the conversion engine to give it a hint what to make this into. So here I'm just looking for the paragraph style title. I need to make sure I only have one book title though, so I check here to make sure it's only matched one time, and it has. Okay, so I am definitely taking too much time, so let me go down here to the rule that has created our related links. I can recognize it because I called it related links entry. Here's related links. This is matched in 2 spots, so I click and I find my related links. Now I've decided that instead of related links here, I do want a relationship table. So I'm just going to change the annotation in this rule. What this is going to do now, still the test remains the same because I'm identifying the same piece of text. This is now going to give a different instruction to migrate for conversion. So I've edited my rule. I'm going to hit save. And as soon as that finishes saving, I'm going to hit convert again. So we're going to reconvert. We're going to be able to see our revised content right away. And it should convert in just a few seconds as it did the last time. And we'll be able to look at that pretty promptly. So the rules I'm working on, I have a rule set in place for this document. Typically, the rules we would make would try to be as comprehensive as you can, so you can use the same rule set on multiple documents. You don't have to create a whole new rule set per document. You can, however, make a copy of the rule set. It's a thing that we actually, to a certain extent, recommend, just so that you have a backup. So this is converted now, so let's download that and look at our revised output. So here we are again. Now let's open this DITA map. just going to close all these other. So here we have our DITA map, but now you can see it has a relationship table as well. So if we switch to the XML view, there's our DITA map. Just a small our relationship table. Just a small relationship table in this case, but you can imagine the same thing would have worked on a much larger relationship table. Switch back to the map editor. So if I go back to my topic, I still have my table, but you can see the related links that were there before are gone because now they've been put into a relationship table. So one of the great things about Migrate, from my perspective, is how quick and easy it is to make such changes that really would be quite a lot of trouble to make after the fact by hand. But in Migrate, even if you've used this and got your content out already and you want to make this change, you can make it easily. Download your content, and it takes you a few seconds to change the rule and 35 seconds to process your document, and there you have your revised output. So that is essentially my demo. Do we have any questions at all?
Okay, thanks, Helen. I have a couple of questions for you. What level of expertise is required to be able to use the rules editor?
Well, it's a good question. We've had people with various different levels of expertise use it. I find that people who are developers love to use it and get great benefit from it, but we've also had lots of people whose expertise really is in knowing their own content, and they also are well qualified to use it. You don't have to be a developer, and we are, of course, always available to help. We do give training because there are things to learn for sure, but I would say the most important thing is to know your own content and to have an idea what you want it to look like on the other end.
Okay, thanks. And the second question was about training. What sort of training do we provide?
Well, we provide online training. Typically what we like to do is an initial session of about an hour using your own content to make sure that the training is targeted to what you're actually going to need. And after about an hour's training, that's enough to get people started and working through their own documents. And then as required, people will come back with some questions, and we do additional sessions to really get good, focused training as required.
Okay, thanks very much. I better wrap things up now. We've gone through the 30 minutes, and I'd just like to be able to show a couple of more slides, if people can bear with us for a couple more minutes. So if you are interested in learning more about Migrate, obviously we can always schedule a follow-up WebEx with you. We've just given you a taster here. But one interesting way of doing things is if you want to upload a sample document that you might have to our website, just go to stilo.com/migrate, and we'll actually convert that for you free of charge, something like 20 or 30 pages. If you do that, we'll then just we'll jointly review the results with you over WebEx, and we'll give you the converted content so that you can test it and evaluate it in your own good time. Then if you want to actually go further and put your own portal in place, your Migrate portal in place, then we would agree some particular tailoring requirements based upon maybe specializations you might have, and we would set up a portal for you. Generally takes us a couple of days to do that, and provide some initial user training that Helen just mentioned earlier. and then all the time we would be supporting you in the background as you're uploading and converting your content. There's also another alternative approach where we can operate on your behalf if you wish, and we would just run the documents through and give you the converted results back. So that's one way of working. Some customers have started off with their own portal and they've used our own Stilo operating services as well and mixed the two according to their own specific sort of deadlines and needs. And that's the way it works. So if you want to see more of this, then we're actually going to be, and if you're in Europe, we're going to be at the Europe in Munich in a couple of weeks' time. And we'll also be presenting there as well. And then in another couple of weeks, a few weeks, we'll be hosting another webinar, another quick sort of 30-minute demo section on AuthorBridge, our web-based authoring tool. And for those of you that might be interested in learning more about DITA, there's a whole bunch of learning resources available on our website. So go to stilo.com/know-DITA, and you'll see case studies and how-to articles and various educational webinar recordings there. And I think you hopefully would find that useful. So that's it. It's a very quick session, probably too quick, but I hope that's okay with you. It's giving you a taster for what Migrate is all about. And we would appreciate your feedback on the webinar, please, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye for now.